Indianapolis, but the difference, let me tell you what the difference is between Indianapolis and Chicago. The difference between Indianapolis and Chicago is that Indianapolis has leadership that will call you out on your BS, and they actually are addressing the problem directly. Here's some of what happened in Indianapolis, and then I'm going to play the police chief's reaction to it.
All right, Katie, thank you. We want to get to some breaking news just into our newsroom. 2 people are dead and several others are injured in a mass shooting in downtown Indianapolis. 5 people were rushed to the hospital for treatment. A 6th victim walked into the hospital a short time later for treatment. 1 person was pronounced dead at the scene. Police do not know the identity or age of the person who died at the scene. Of the 6 wounded, police say 3 are juveniles. One of those juveniles later died at the hospital. Indianapolis's police chief has a stark message for parents.
I don't know how many times I have to say it. We are not your children's keepers.
And he has a point, but instead of us just playing a quick clip of it, let's go ahead and look at the entirety of what he had to say to the people as far as what they're dealing with in Indianapolis. And I was very surprised. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was very surprised. The reason that I was surprised is because I didn't know that Indianapolis had this type of activity happening there. When I went and visited Indianapolis, it was incredible. And I will admit that it was a little while ago. I rode bikes. Y'all had a phenomenal zoo. You can hear the lions roaring outside of the Indianapolis Zoo, depending on what time that you go or what time that you're roaring the bikes. It's the conference city. Indianapolis is largely known to have some of the best conference sitters and have some of the best conferences in the city. And so I didn't know, of course, you know that it's a hood everywhere and that it's hood elements everywhere. But I didn't know that Indianapolis had this type of element that was prevalent, but I guess it's happening everywhere right now. This is what he had to say. Let me fast forward it, because I know that the lady vice chief or whatever her name was had something to say. We don't want to hear from that. Shout out to her though for doing the work. We celebrate all of our police officers. But this was the police chief answering questions and addressing the issues, and he was basically talking to black parents. He didn't say it because, you know, they get offended when you actually say, hey, black people or black culture or black parents. He didn't say it, but everybody that got shot, everybody that died just so happened to be black. Everybody that was Roman just so happened to be black. And so he was directly addressing black parents, and this is what he had to say.
Chris Bailey, Chief of Police for the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. I'll just add on a little bit to what she said about our thoughts and prayers for the victims here tonight, their families, and the long road ahead for all of them as we try to uncover exactly what and why this all happened tonight. This kind of violence, whether downtown or any of our neighborhoods, is completely unacceptable and unnecessary. Unnecessary. Thousands of people came downtown tonight, enjoyed the fireworks, and went home. Thousands more chose to come down here and all night cause trouble. I was down here until about 12:30 tonight. I worked with my officers, took the runs with them, dealt with the disturbances, dealt with the utter disrespect for our city, for our laws, and for law enforcement. Hundreds of unsupervised kids down here. I don't know how many times I have to say it. We are not your children's keepers. You are.
Now, you know, it's some black woman that's getting mad. That's a single mother saying, I can't believe, because, you know, when things happen, right? When there's violence in schools, when people have problems, when there's issues and trouble, what do we like to do? We blame it on the school. We blame it on the teachers. We blame it on the police. We blame it on the mayors. We blame it on the police chief. We blame it on the legislators. We blame it on everybody except for ourselves. It's always a reason why everybody else need to be responsible for your children, but you send them out there and they're the ones that tear up everything. We blame it on everybody. The police is not there to prevent crime. The police is there to address and deal with the crime as it happens. We're not precogs. They can't go out there and then be able to say, hey, you were about to commit a crime. Let me stop you from slapping somebody or pulling a pistol out. They just respond to it. They try to prosecute it, and then they go by the laws that's on the books that is based off of you electing somebody in there to determine what happens and what people can and can't get away with in the first place, because your legislators is a representation of the people that voted for them.
And parents and guardians have got to step up. A kid is dead tonight. And we just don't know the age of the young man down the street, still here, dead.
Look at y'all, still gaslighting. Still gaslighting. Unless I mentioned it, he hasn't mentioned any race, so this could involve all races. Shut the fuck up, man. Just shut that shit up, bro. I honestly, this isn't directed towards you. This is directed towards anybody that has this mentality. You know what the hell is going on. Why we playing games acting like we don't know who the criminals are and who's committing the majority of the crimes in urban communities at the downtown fireworks? In every city across the United States of America. Come on, man. Stop gaslighting, bro. If you go back, and maybe I need to go back and show the people that were walking down and the ones that are in the background and the ones that are committing the crimes and the groups, maybe I need to go back and show it when the news was saying, hey, this is how many people were shot, and they refused to leave. They were just all standing around looking around. No, this was a diversity, equity, and inclusion shooting. This was white people, black people, Hispanic people. This was Asian people. These were all of the people. You know why he didn't say it? Because they can't say, hey, man, it was some black YNs that was downtown shooting up everybody, and now 2 people is dead as a result of it. What you talking about? This could be all races working together. Shut up, bro. Shut up. Shut up. Stop it, bro. Stop it. Stop it. Stop gaslighting. Stop gaslighting. It wasn't. You know who it is. You know who it is. Because if he say it out loud, then y'all gonna call him a racist. Oh, man, he a racist. He can't do that in a position of power. See, he can't, but I can. If he say, hey, black parents, hey, parents of African-American children, please get your kids in order, then you're going to be feeling some type of, oh my God. You want him to say one thing, but then he can't. Even when they identify a criminal, we become so weak nowadays in these liberal cities. It was a man, 5'11", with a mask on, and then he took it off, and he had on a hoodie and some blue jeans. Okay, well, what's his nationality? Well, we can't say that now. We can't say what his nationality is, because then we will be being prejudiced.
He looks young. It's unacceptable. The police department all night long went from place to place to place, trying to prevent these kind of things. And I gotta be honest, I'm tired of it. You should be tired of it. This is not our job to do this. It is unnecessary. You don't have to act like this. Our officers, half a block away from when before this shooting started, dealing with another group of individuals fighting.
Dealing with another group. You see how he had to catch himself? Dealing with another group of individuals fighting.
Dealing with another group of individuals fighting. We made almost, probably, well, we're still tallying them, about 20 arrests tonight. Recovered guns that I know of before this happened from 2 kids. One of them was an assault rifle stuffed in the front of his pants. I'm not sure anymore what it's going to take for some in our community to wake up. I've said it. This is where the kids are. This is where they are on Friday and Saturday nights. If you want to engage them, if you want to help them, you want to prevent some of this violence, this is where they are. Here, they're here. Come down. I invite all of those who think that I'm exaggerating this or that I'm saying just because it's downtown. No, nowhere else in the city is this concentration of people in one small area, less than a half a mile. Come down and see for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. You can see them being dropped off by their parents, 5 or 6 at a time out of the car. You can see them jump out of Ubers and Lyfts. And you can see them jumping off the buses that they ride down, that they miss and then linger around downtown. Heck, look to your left. You're still going to see some people that probably shouldn't be out here right now lingering.
I can hear him in the background. I can hear them in the background. He said, hey, why the camera so scared to pan to the left, though? He said, hey, look to your left. You probably can see some of them still standing around lingering. Look to your left, big dog. All you got to do is go to the left. I would have did just like this. Look to the left. They right here. They right over there. See them talking? Hear them in the background? They talking while I'm talking.
Your left. You're still going to see some people that probably shouldn't be out here right now lingering. Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, didn't come down here to see the fireworks, shooting fireworks off at our community from the top of parking garages.
I could hear, when I hear them in the background, I could tell what their race is. When I listen to them in the background, I can tell exactly what their race is. They say stuff like, oh, you did your big one today. Wow, what they all talk about that bar? You could we know. Listen, if you had to put your life savings on banking, because for all you diversity, equity, and inclusion advocates, if you had to put everything you ever worked for in your life on one group of people to assume, and you had this profile and assume that this was the race of the person that, or the people that are lingering and committing the crime at this particular thing, who would you bet on? Now remember, you can either lose everything or you can double up. But who would you bet on? What would you put your money on? For all of you diversity, equity, and inclusion advocates, who would you put your money on? I know where I'm putting my money on. I know who ain't gonna let me down. I know who ain't letting me down.
Necessary. Any questions?
Is it going to take other city departments to step up?
No, see, we keep going back to what's the government going to do? What's the city going to do? The city's invested in this. Millions of dollars the city, taxpayers pay for police overtime to staff this 1 square mile area with, there was a couple hundred cops down here between state police and Capitol Police and IMPD and other police department agencies. Yes, we're going to keep doing our job. The city of Indianapolis, government, the police department is going to continue to do our job. We're not going to solve this. Not just by the police. We made 20 arrests tonight.
Bailey, you're a dad.
Yeah.
What would you say to those parents out there?
I don't understand it. I know where my kids are at all time. So maybe that's maybe I shouldn't be that way. 16-year-old daughter. I cannot imagine letting her roam around down here tonight like she was, like kids were. Unattended, unsupervised, nothing to do. Some of these individuals that were shot could have been very well not engaged in any kind of disturbance whatsoever. But
hey, you see how he had to pay attention to who was walking behind him? Even the police chief is aware. Police chief paying attention. He paying attention, and he see how he's situationally aware. He not just assuming everybody. Y'all want everybody to assume that everybody is good.
you know, some of these individuals that were shot could have been very well not engaged in any kind of disturbance whatsoever.
Mid-sentence. You see who walked past them?
Could have been very well not engaged in any kind of disturbance whatsoever.
Let me guess. This young black man right here is walking over at 2:30 in the morning during a news thing. He's walking over to go hang out with white people, right? This young man with the hair and the chain is going over to go kick it with other white people that could have committed this crime. Or maybe he was going over to go kick it with Latino people. Maybe he was going over to hang out with the Asians that were in the area so that they can go and kick it, right? Maybe he was going to hang out with some Arabic people that were hanging out right there on the corner in the middle of the 2:30 in the morning right after a shooting. Maybe. We don't know. We can't assume. We can't assume. We got to go by what it is that we think is happening.
These individuals that were shot could have been very well not engaged in any kind of disturbance whatsoever. But it just caught up in a crossfire. Merely down here enjoying ice cream. Or maybe they were down here for the fireworks or wanted to see what's going on in the circle and got caught up in whatever's happening. But look, nothing good happens after midnight. Some of these kids should not have been out here, period.
Facts,
They missed
Mr.
the bus
Lott.
going
I
back.
agree with you. He had to be
some
going
of the
to
stories.
he had to be going to a hackathon. Going to make sure that, white hat, black hat, hackathon. He was going to do something productive.
That we heard one of our officers prevented two young girls from getting into a stranger's car because they missed the bus to go back home. Wait, you have no ability to call your parents? Your parents wouldn't come pick you up if you missed the bus? There is a problem. There is a problem. It's not going to be solved by the police. It's our job to try to keep people safe, and they did it tonight. I watched it with my own eyes. I helped do some of it. They did all the work. They ran toward the gunfire down here as they were working another fight. They're all in. They're all in. So when I hear people say, oh, we're just worried about minor things in downtown Indianapolis. No, minor things turn into big things. The amount of guns that I saw tonight on people roaming around here with nothing else to do. We can't do anything about it. Like, unless you're a kid, there's nothing, unless you're doing something with the gun or doing something illegal, we can't go up and ask you what you're doing with the gun. That turns into bad things, especially when there's fights or when there's...
He not lying. And I think that, people are uncomfortable with the truth, but you got to give it to them. At some point, or maybe never. Let me not say at some point anymore. I was about to say at some point we have to take ownership and responsibility and start to do things, but I guess we don't. Why would we? This has been going on the same way for my whole lifetime, that's for sure. We don't have to change. Why would we? Well, at least they know that we're going to keep our own population in check. A lot of people keep saying, why are we still only 13% of the population? Because we make sure that we trim off the fat, baby. Between Planned Parenthood and gun violence within the community, we're going to just trim off the fat, baby. How are we only 13.6% of the population and we've been here for all of these years? I don't know. I'm confused. We had the most sex, had get the most pregnant, Between A plan, B plan, they got a C plan now. I think they're coming out with a D plan. And gun violence, we're going to keep that in check, baby. We don't keep that in check.